7:30. Call the meeting to order. And for this meeting, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. David, would you like to start us off?
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Marlene?
Yes, roll call. Dana Goldman,
Here.
Alex Lama,
Here.
Jennifer Vizcara,
Here.
and Mayor Svechin.
Here. Okay, so we have the public hearing on the proposed millage rate and tentative budget.
This is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, of Miami-Dade County, Florida, adopting the City of Sunny Isles Beach tentative ad valorem tax millage levy rate at 2.1 mils per $1,000 of taxable assessed value, which is 6.0% less than the rollback rate of 2.2357 mils for fiscal year 2021-2022.
Okay, this is pretty simple. We've one more time lowered the tax rate by 1/10 to 2.1.
That's good news. Okay. Do we have any discussion? Do we have any public comment?
Could I,
Do you have discussion?
well, I was
Sure.
only gonna ask the city manager for the purpose of people understanding, what does it mean? What does it mean that we're going, how is that good news?
Okay, so the millage rate is the amount per 1,000 of assessed value that the property appraiser sends in your bill as their value for your property. In this case, this is actually our 9th year of reducing it. And I was going to save a little of this thunder for the budget ordinance itself, but I can break it up. Nobody wants to hear me talk too long. We now going to 2.1 actually takes off about $1.2 million on our revenue. But we've had a very successful year that I'll talk about a little bit later. But we now are, and this is amazing, there's 34 communities, cities, towns in this county. We are now the 3rd lowest of the entire county, with only Aventura and Bell Harbor lower than us. So that's how that works.
Thank you, Chris. Anyone else? Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay.
All
3,
in favor, say aye.
aye. 3B,
3B, it's an ordinance of the City of Commission, an ordinance of the City of Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, adopting an operating and capital improvement budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. Pursuant to Section 200.65 Florida statutes, authorizing expenditures of funds established by the budget, authorizing encumbrances, authorizing issuance of checks, providing for grants and gifts, providing for local and federal law enforcement trust funds, providing for post-audit, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
okay, Chris.
Okay. We probably had one of the best financial years the city has ever had. And I never thought a year ago that I'd be saying this after all the precautions that we had in the current year's budget that we're still in for a few more days. And the reason we're in this good shape is because of all the hard work that everybody on our staff has done in every department. I mean, it has been incredible. I mentioned it at the budget work sessions. I'm very proud to say it here. It has been incredible how everybody's improvised, everybody's held back at certain times. We made up for, and then some, what I thought we were going to lose in the past fiscal year, in the current fiscal year. So I want to thank all our departments, all our staff, and obviously the finance department, who has been working extremely hard. We were running late this year because of all the other requirements that were related to the COVID, whether it was FEMA reimbursement, whether it was CARES reimbursement, or other programs and things that we were trying to do to help people who were, harmed or worse in our community. So with that, which I think was the foremost important, I can tell you that we have projected the end of this fiscal year to have a fund balance that will be approximately $46,600,000. For the fiscal year budget that we're talking about today of adopting, we not only reduced the millage rate, we've increased our assessed value. As I just mentioned, we're the third lowest city tax rate in Miami-Dade County. We are the sixth highest assessed value. That's another incredible number. We're at a little over 12.6 billion of assessed value. To give you an idea, we're 2.2 billion over Aventura. We're well over places like Pinecrest, Miami Gardens, Key Biscayne, and we're catching up with Hialeah. These are the ones that have a higher assessed value than us, and they're much greater land areas. Hialeah, Doral, Coral Gables, Miami Beach, and the number one in Miami-Dade County is the city of Miami, just to give you an idea. So getting back to this budget, we've balanced it using approximately $7.5 million from our fund balance. $2 million of that went to the operating fund, $4 million to the capital project fund, and $1.5 million for street maintenance. And we expect to, for example, if we spent every penny in the budget right now, we'd still have over $39 million fund balance. As I mentioned during our workshop, there's $2 million in reimbursement that we're getting from that we've gotten from the CARES program. We've been approved for $10.9 million of funding also from what they call the ARPA program. It's got a lot of strings attached, but two of the areas that we know we will be able to use substantial money from this $10.9 million is anything related to storm drainage improvements, which we are spending millions of dollars on this coming fiscal year. And the other area has to do with technology and fiber optic installations and moving ahead in technology in that area. We're planning a project on the conduits that we put in a few years ago with the Collins undergrounding of getting the fiber through to our city facilities so we don't have to be totally reliant on these antennas and the tall buildings and things. The other is the Golden Shores project. There may be an aspect of that, which will be multi-million-dollar project, the undergrounding that has started with the streetlights now in Golden Shores. We may be able to use some of this funding on the technology part of that project. So we're pretty happy about that. We're still looking into that closely because if we don't spend the money, we have to give it back.
So the 10.9, we
Yeah.
get half now.
It's
and
half this, and half a year later.
And we have to spend it within that time period.
There's a, I don't recall the exact time, I'll leave that to Tiffany.
Okay.
Okay.
Aren't we supposed to get the budget in by October 31st, isn't that, or are we we're gonna get line items of what we're asking for under ARPA, or how's that gonna, how are we gonna get that
I'm not-
information, or how's that gonna self-reflect? The ARPA funds, are we?
Yeah. Well, we've got,
together,
we,
are you gonna make available, what we're, what we're
Yeah.
gonna ask for under ARPA, or?
yeah, we'll be coming back to you with what we're going to do. For example, there's programs that we've already budgeted for that money can be used for something else when, to meet, the ARPA requirements with it. The Central Island Storm Drainage System, that money will go to another capital project. And clearly ARPA money is 100% qualifying for that project. It meets the criteria. So we're not through that yet. We're just starting to get all the information and listening to seminars and things about that. Yeah.
But there's a reporting, a deadline, right?
Oh, yeah,
On
there's a lot.
October, is it October 31st, or is it gonna extend?
Do you want to say it up here?
Because, I mean,
Wait,
10.9 is a lot
just
of,
just
it's a lot
hold
of
on so
money.
that we can all have an opportunity. Are you done, Chris?
Okay. No, I was going to mention a couple of other things here on it. So let me just mention a couple of other items in here. Okay, I mentioned Golden Shores. We are out to bid on the undergrounding there. Our franchise fees went up $700,000 over the coming into this current year budget. We're going to be implementing the new building department fees, which, as you know, will be a significant decrease in fees for the average resident, so to speak, for projects that they may be doing in their condo or
Yes.
smaller home. We are going forward finally with the selection and recommendation to the commission that will be on, I think, the next meeting about the sculpture fountain, things from the artist that the PAC has determined to get the town center section of the park completed there. Mentioned the millage. That's the highlights. We've discussed other things. I'll let Tiffany
All
answer
right.
that
So
question.
for as far as discussion, Dana, do you want to?
Yeah, because we went on the Florida League, they indicate, at the Florida League conference, they indicated that there was some sort of a reporting deadline for, earmarking or line items for the ARPA money. So I was just curious, like, how much of that information, like, we're gonna really be made available to us and to the city as to, how we're gonna apply it.
There is
So-
a reporting requirement. My understanding was for the non-essential units, which is what the city is. So meaning that, the funds flow through the state as opposed to being given directly. That we would have some more time, because we haven't even gotten the funds yet. We haven't been assigned what's called a unique ID number. But there is a portal where you can report the information.
Yeah, and that agreement will be on our agenda for next week that we have to
Yes.
adopt.
Yes, and we're gonna actually set up a separate revenue fund for these funds so that we can track them separately, identify them to specific projects and such.
Okay.
Anyone else? Commissioner
Yes.
Esparra?
Thank you. Regarding these, the ARPA funds, can they be applied to things that we've already spent on during COVID? Because this is COVID related, right?
Correct. So they can, going back to March of 2020.
Okay.
So for things that have already been spent on eligible projects.
Good.
Commissioner Lama?
Yeah, I have a question. So whatever we didn't get paid from FEMA or from, the way that we had to report for any COVID expense, let's say we only got paid 70%, we could make up the 30% from the ARPA?
Only if it's eligible projects.
Okay,
So if it's spent on, I don't know, disinfection or something like that of facilities, that's not an eligible expenditure under the ARPA.
Okay, but we could still recoup some money
Yes.
that falls within the categories?
Correct.
Okay, all right, great,
Yeah,
thank
so
you.
during this process, just to clarify for anyone that's listening, is that because this is such a strict process, we're going to have in place mechanisms to be able to track this, and so it will be shared with the public. And we're very, very fortunate to get this money. I'm shocked, but I'm very happy. So thank you, Tiffany. Any other questions on the budget?
And we'll be dealing directly with the federal government or with the state with the ARPA money? Where it's not going through the county at all, right?
No, not through the
Okay.
county at all. We'll deal with the state.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, is there any public comment?
No.
So you
I
had,
just
Sure.
have, as you know, in the last, budget hearing, where I was somewhat, silenced about this, I have some, concerns about one particular item on the capital, budget. So, for me, I'd like to, revisit that comment and that issue of, putting a pause on the Collins Avenue pedestrian bridge, Government Center, and, so I feel, that this is the time to voice that I'm definitely, of the impression that this should be pulled out a little further, given that we're not constructing the government annex building and we're even having a feasibility study on, regarding the police station and so forth. So, again, I want to reiterate how I feel about that component of the capital.
okay, yes, and I definitely heard you during that meeting. Chris, how far along are we in the process of the bridge? Because it's not like we would be adding money later, it would just be taking it away if we put a pause on it, but where are we now?
Well,
with the
right
bridge?
now, we're ready to go out to bid in about 2 to 3 months, the maximum. And and we've spent just under $1 million on it.
We've already spent $1 million
Yeah.
on it. So there is some time to have another discussion about this, because what I was hearing from the last meeting, Commissioner Goldman, is that you were not comfortable with the study that was done recommending the bridge.
I feel that it's not the study, it's the bridge itself and the need for the bridge at this particular time.
Well, the study is what recommended the bridge. So are you saying you would
Which
like
study, you're
the
talking about
transportation?
We've had a number.
2016 transportation plan that had one comment that said, we should have bridges at this corner, this corner, this corner, and this corner. I hardly view that as, the great empirical data of all.
No, that wasn't the data. I will send to the commission all the data from the subcontractors
Okay.
and analysis and everything that was done on that project.
I
All
mean,
right.
we had the same issue. We spent, 1.4 million on the studies, on the feasibility and the approval for the government annex building, and somehow we put the pause button on that,
Yeah, we
so-
did. We
So I feel, for
That
me,
was
I'd
for
like
the
to
school
see us,
building.
withhold the.
I think that
Put the brakes on that.
it's not unreasonable if you feel very strongly about this, and if anyone else agrees, we can have a discussion about this separately, because I am hearing from you that you don't feel that there is enough evidence to show this, so that potentially we do need
You
some
should
other-
get that.
So
I
let's
definitely
look
should
at
give it.
what
I
the
mean,
city manager-
this was
have a-
given to commissioners going back to 2015, so I think I should prepare all of that information for this commission.
All right, so we can
I-
potentially, hold on a second,
Yeah.
Alex. So we could potentially, if there is interest, have a specific workshop to discuss this item after we look at all
Well, we're
the.
gonna have a discussion item at the next meeting, so I don't know about a workshop. I mean, I don't see I just don't see it. It's, for me, I feel like, we should be kind of reviewing this capital budget when the next mayor is basically elected. But, at that time when we have a new administration, so, that's kind of how I feel about it, but
Okay,
I don't see I don't think I'm not advocating for a workshop. We can have that discussion, at the next commission meeting or another, but I don't know that this is really a workshop.
well, I'd like to
item.
see the information that the city manager is going to send us to make that decision. Commissioner Lummer, you're recognized.
Yes, I'm leaning towards putting this on pause as well. I was looking at the transportation study, and it does reference the annex and the annex for the middle school. So I think some of the factors have changed on the ground, and now we have the property being the potential property for the construction of a police department. So I think that needs to be factored in as well. And I would like to just put it on pause so it gives us more time to, think about it, perhaps look at the data that Chris is referencing, and perhaps even do some more data collection. For this area, look at the pedestrian traffic, and at that point. So, I would like to put that on pause as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Viscara, you recognize.
Thank you. I favor the workshop idea rather than having it as a discussion item in the commission meeting, because in the commission meeting, we're gonna, especially this next one, we're gonna have 20 other things to talk about. And, as the meeting continues and it gets later in the evening, I think people are more tired, people tune out. So I would favor a workshop where we can just talk about this and look at the data and the entire context, which is the previous studies done, as well as the new studies that have been commissioned and what that overlap is and what that represents, et cetera. So I would favor a workshop, and I would not want it to be at the tail end of what we know is going to be a long commission meeting.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is a matter of public safety, and I definitely would like to have a longer discussion with all the data and then determine if we need more data, because obviously we all are very sensitive to pedestrians and the ability to cross the road. Do you want to make a motion? Do we need a motion, Valerie, to have a workshop?
I'm sorry?
Do we need a motion to have a workshop if we wanted to discuss this?
No, I mean, if there's consensus, I don't think you have
Do
to have
we
a separate
have-
motion.
Just said that.
Commissioner Goldman, are you willing to?
I mean, for me, I think, it's just an overall feeling that, this type of a workshop or even, a discussion, should be when the mayor, after the mayor's race is determined.
Well, right now, we are approving the budget, so are
Well,
you?
we're approving, but this is part of the budget. So for me, I'd like to, approve the operating budget, but withhold the approval of the capital budget so that, we can reset this.
You don't need to hold anything of the capital budget because you have to approve anything that's on there. It's not something that's going
So I
forward.
can't just approve this and not approve that? You're saying that I'm not, can I approve the operating budget and withhold the,
But there's nothing on this, but you're going to have to vote. I mean, having the item there as it's been for a number of years, as it's been worked on, doesn't stop you. It has to come to you to award a
To begin,
contract. It
right,
has to- yeah, we
exactly.
can't- yeah.
So if we have, if we're all in consensus that we're going to put a hold on it and that we're
And
gonna
we'll
have a
hold, yeah,
workshop,
we'll hold off going out to bid until we
Then
have
you
this
don't need to.
workshop.
we should even hold the, we have a lot of, again, we have 3 seats up and, I don't see the value of having a workshop next week, let's put it that way.
it doesn't have to be next week, we could do it at a different time, but I think,
Maybe
look,
after November.
with all due respect, I don't think that the people of the city have to wait because we're gonna have an election to approve this
But
budget.
you have certain voices and we only have 4 here and, it just, to me, the timing, it just doesn't make sense to have a workshop in within the next couple of months about this subject.
So you're against the workshop, but Commissioner Viscara and Commissioner Lama, you are for.
I'm for the workshop. I mean, we could decide on the timing, or me and Commissioner Viscara could have it by ourselves.
Who'll
Well,
be
since-
standing?
since
Yeah,
you-
who'll be
The
standing?
3 empty seats.
Last person
Since you're,
standing.
okay, so, yeah, it's funny. All right, so, Valerie, you're sitting in as a parliamentarian. What is the process here so that we can move ahead? Because we definitely don't want to hold back the budget because,
No, and you're obligated to pass a budget. I mean, certainly
Right, we
subject to
are.
any amendments, if there's consensus on amendments to the budget, that's
Can we-
permissible.
can we-
And it can even be changed between
can we-
first and second reading.
Well, let me ask you this, could we pass the budget with an amend to move the timeline or, withhold or withhold,
specific
withdraw,
line
or
item?
move the timeline on the pedestrian bridge?
You don't need to do that. We're
Or
not gonna
that-
move on it. We're not gonna move on. I'm telling you right here. on
But,
the record, we're not gonna
a
move on.
month ago, you said, Chris, that, oh, we're gonna go to bid. I mean, Bud was like, oh, yeah, and we're gonna
That's
go
where
to
we
bid in
are.
All right.
September.
Okay, we're
But, I
having
mean,
this
I'm-
meeting
I'm
now.
like, I don't even know if it's in the
Okay.
budget book, if it's in the commission hearing this month. This is of news to me. Are we bidding on a contract in
No, we're
September?
putting the bid specs, no, we're still working on the bid specs. They're not gonna be ready to go out for at least a couple of months. So I'm telling you now, if this is what the commission wants, we're not gonna move on that. And that has to come back to you, even if I did do it.
So
But I can just
we're on
agree
the
not to
record.
tip it out,
We're
yeah.
on the record
Yeah.
that we're gonna put a pause on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
then if we need to amend
That's fine.
this component.
Okay,
There's nothing
so-
to amend.
All right.
I would move to approve with the amended, whatever component of this capital. Put a pause, I don't know.
Wait
put
a
pause
second.
on
We have
it.
do we have public comment?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
For 3B, Fabiola Stufan.
Good evening, everyone. I don't think we should be.
Fabiola.
Fabiola Escribes at 326 Poinciana Drive, Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, 33160. I don't think we should be linking politics and safety. As a mom, my oldest daughter is driving. My two middle kids are bicycling every day back and forth to school and to their sports. And I walk the streets of Sunny Isles with my baby. So anything that you guys can do to make our street safer, I don't think we should be a pause. And I do have a question. If we continue as it is right now, when will be the bridge ready? Okay.
We don't know.
Like in
It's not even out to bid. So
Exactly, like 2
so
years,
this
3
is not
years.
exactly. This is not something that's going to start happening immediately.
Exactly. So just please don't pause it. Just continue it. It doesn't matter who's the mayor, who's the commissioner, who's sitting there, who goes out. Just do it for the full-time residents and also for the people that is coming and going from Sunny Isles. We are not a pedestrian safety city. We still are not. And I know that our police department is amazing and they do their best they can, but our streets are not safe. So anything you guys can do to make it safer, I think as a mom, as a full-time resident, as a driver, please just do it. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Fabiola. Okay. So Commissioner Goldman, you wanted to make an amendment?
Yes, I would want to amend to, to move these, let's see, we have these timelines for the Collins, this is,
Can you tell us what page you're looking at, please?
C-19. This is a $10 million project. And in FY 2022, 2023, and so forth, you have a estimated start date and completion date of 11/2022. If we can, put that on hold or somehow, move those timelines out.
Okay. And just for clarification,
Or put it even on hold, if we can do that, if we can
It's
put it.
just-
before
on
I
hold.
take a motion, just for clarification again, Chris, if we did not move anything and we, like I said, we have right now on the record that we want to hold off for now, even if we did not hold off for now, what would happen if we just kept going? A bid would go out.
I would have
We would
to-
still, whatever new commission would be here would still have to vote on it.
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely.
So in 3 months, regardless, whoever is sitting here would still have to vote on it.
Yes, I can't do
Without
anything.
the amendment.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Did you still
Yeah.
want to make the amendment,
Yes,
Commissioner?
I
Goldman?
do.
Okay, do I have a second? Do I need
I
a-
don't understand the motion I don't see a timeline in the budget. I don't understand
It's funding
the
is
motion.
FY 2022,
I can't spend the money without you approving it.
What, am I on C-19? What page am I looking at?
C-19 under the capital improvement
Projected
program.
estimated, okay. I see it, okay, got it. Okay, got it, thank you. Okay, so can you please repeat your motion?
To, either to move that timeline to FY 2023 to 2024, or put a pause, or some sort of, if we can put a hold on that.
All right, yeah, it shouldn't be the dates and you don't need to do anything because I cannot spend the money to award a bid. You have to approve a bid award. I'm going to wait to send it out. If we're ready in 1 month and 2 months and you haven't had your workshop and it hasn't been resolved, I'm going to do nothing until the commission makes a decision. I mean, I can't spend the money. I can't spend any money anyway. I cannot spend it.
So can I get a motion to approve as is?
We talk about the whole budget?
Yes,
Because I had something else
All
separate
right.
from this, but
please. You are recognized, Commissioner Viscara.
thank you. As you know, also in the budget, workshop, I made my feelings known that I don't want any vendor or anybody who hasn't passed our current background checks. So I would want this budget to be subject to that. That we don't have anything, any vendor or anybody included in here that has not passed our background checks. That would be my requested condition, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
Do you
so-
want to just, for purposes of clarification,
Please.
because there's already a motion on the floor to amend, you want to take them one at a time, so there's no.
I think Commissioner Goldman said that we're not amending.
Okay, I just wanted.
She was correct? Correct? Yes. Because we
I don't
agreed
have
that we're
that.
gonna wait, so,
We've agreed that we're gonna wait
Right,
on
okay.
this,
so,
correct?
okay.
So there's nothing,
so,
Okay.
yes.
we're in agreement at least on that part.
all right. So Commissioner Viscara, can you please clarify what exactly, who are you including in this?
My issue, I would include anybody. I mean, I'm addressing specifically what is in under the city commission tab, but the photography services. But I think generally that would be my condition, that I really don't want. I want us to agree that we're not going to hire people that don't pass background checks.
Okay, so just for clarification, you know that includes, none of us have background checks. So the commission would also be included in that,
I don't have any issue with that,
okay?
Okay,
although we're not vendors or employees, but I don't have a problem with that.
I think this is more a policy process. Whatever.
So
one of our
it's
policy-
not-
Yeah, I think the way to accomplish that is for me to talk to the city attorney and amend our hiring policy
Because-
to make that clear, because right now the city manager has the authority to waive that. And there's been, I can't think of any right now, but there is times when I really wanted to hire somebody who may have been in prison at some point in their life or something and paid their dues and seemed to be good people and citizens. And I always thought just having that flexibility, which is the way it is now, that the city manager's got the flexibility to hire somebody who may have had, something on their record.
Okay, so for the purposes of the budget, I want to go back to the budget. Do we need to have that included in there? Because it's not like we're putting money aside for this, correct? Are you asking Commissioner Viscara that we put money
We can
aside
look at that.
for background checks? What is your?
No.
No, she's just saying to
I'm-
make it a
I'm
straight
asking
policy.
that we remove, I'm asking that we remove the photography services out of the city commission tab, and that would be my reason. And I would apply that to if there's anybody else in this binder that I'm not aware of that hasn't passed background check, which I believe there isn't, then I would ask that apply to everybody.
Okay,
That issue, that you bring it up, I've been informed that that individual will not be renewing his contract, which is up to the end of this month.
Well, then can we remove that individual from the budget now, since that contract will not be renewed?
is that
yeah.
money attached to that person or is it attached to the position?
No, it's attached to the position, not the
Okay,
person.
so it's attached to the
Yeah.
position, not that person. And
Yeah,
if
so it'll be
he's not
surplus
renewing
money
his
for next
contract,
year.
Are you saying you don't want a city photographer
No,
line item?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't want somebody who hasn't passed background check. And the way that it's written in here, it specifically mentions that company. So maybe we can just amend it to reference photography services in
Okay.
general.
In the final budget, we can, because this is something
can
that
do
just
that.
came up.
Okay, we don't need a motion for that?
Yes. No.
Well, I would like to make a motion
There
that
should
this
be
be
a consensus.
amended to photography
We just need a consensus.
services in general.
To amend it, yes.
Okay, do we have consensus to amend to photography services in general? Commissioner Lama? Any okay, so we have a consensus.
Thank you.
All right, so any more discussion? Commissioner Lama, would you like to say anything?
Sorry, no, I'm good.
Okay, you're good. All right, so
You would move to approve the budget as amended.
as amended, okay. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do a roll call. Dana Goldman,
Yes.
Alex Lama, Jennifer Viscara.
Yes.
And Mayor Sachin,
Yes.
4-0. And this ordinance will pass on the first reading, and the second one will be scheduled for Tuesday, September 21st, 2021, at 5:30 PM.
Okay, we don't have any more public comment, we have nobody, okay, all right.
I have a comment. Chris, what's the possibility of pushing forward the deadline for the pedestrian bridge at 174th? Right now, we have it projected for an end date of September 2024. I mean, I know that.
We're still trying to get some more money for it, yeah. That was something else that'll be on the agenda next week, is be awarding the contract for the design of that bridge. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So if
it's
there's no way to.
a few years, but,
Because I think that the need there is obviously greater than anywhere else.
well, let me send all the information out to this commission. It was 2015 that we started with the feasibility study and everything else with it.
All right, so if there's nothing more on the budget, meeting's adjourned?
Oh, wait a minute.
What?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. We have one issue relating that's going to come up with Veterans Day. Susan, do you want to maybe mention this? We've you know how we ask residents if they're veterans and we put it on the veteran wall?
Okay,
We're thinking about, I'll let Susan give you the details. We really think employees who have been with us a certain amount of time, who are veterans, we may want to consider adding them. I'll let Susan explain.
Yeah, we had an unofficial policy that we would only allow residents, specifically residents on our Veterans Wall.
mm-hmm,
We do a push every year. We had a surge in the first few years. Lately, it's dwindled down to this year. We only have one legitimate applicant. So we would like to consider, and we've had this request before, to include employees that meet certain criteria. So maybe they had to have worked here for a certain period of time, but they have to meet all the other eligibility requirements for a U.S. veteran.
okay.
I like it. I like it.
And we'll bring you the criteria before we do
Okay.
it.
And I know I brought this up before to you, Susan, and just to throw it out there, because I have been approached by residents to consider non-U.S. residents that have fought with the Allies in World War II, or consistent with U.S. Wars, or been on our side, because we do actually have a lot of those veterans still here in the city. But that's a separate conversation. But since you brought it up, I'd like you to think about that as well.
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, anything else? Okay, do I need a motion to adjourn, Val, or could we just adjourn? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. See you all next Tuesday.